To help you avoid situations like this in Civilization 6, I'm here today to provide you with some tips and tricks and some of the big mistakes that I've seen Civilization 6 players from beginners to experts make. My name is Jumbo Pixel. I'm not going to bore you asking for likes, we're just going to jump straight into the video. We're going to talk everything from loyalty to settling cities to expanding your empire far and wide, and a little bit of sexy district planning thrown in the mix for good measure as well. Let's begin. We're going to start from the ground and work our way up, time cards below as always, but the first message that I really want to get across here is that industry and production is paramount, and it's probably more important than you're giving it credit for. Of course, food is vital. We need food to get citizens. Each citizen works a tile. Without them, we're not working any of our tiles, right? Of course it matters. Science and culture matter as well to progress through the trees and through the game, but really, without industry, you cannot do anything else. Here's a few tips and tricks to help get you off the ground and elevate your early city building industry up to give you the best start at beating Civilization 6. Firstly, don't forget that each population is working these tiles, and if you jump into the city, you can manage the citizens like this. Now, in this city, and as a general rule of thumb, I like to shoot for my citizens to be providing me with, ideally, at least 2 food and 2 industry. What do you look out for in particular? Well, of course, you can look for resources, like this stone here, that if I improve, it will be 2 food and 2 production. However, you'll notice the 2 tiles to its south are already providing that. Certain tiles, of course, are better than others. Here we like hills and we like woodland. So long as I've got enough of those within my city to support my growing population, I'm okay with not necessarily having to improve some of these other fairly mediocre tiles. I will purchase this one in the bottom right because it will be a great future location for a campus as well. So not only can my citizens work this tile in the immediate short term, providing 2 food and 2 industry, but then I can chop the forest down, surge some industry into the city to produce my settlers quicker, because of course that's the aim of the early game and the aim of this industry, and it would free up a spot for a district in future. But again, just to reiterate here, the key is to ensure that we have production online, whether we're surging it in with builders chopping forests we don't need, or settling good tiles. The next thing that you're going to inevitably bump up against is going to be a neighbor. In my case, it's the ghoul. Now, of course, you can take them down militarily if you want to. The thing to consider with your settlers, though, and something that I see a lot of people actually overstate, they downplay themselves in the face of it, is loyalty. Now, on the settler view, or of course the settler lens, if you want to come down here and turn on the settler lens, totally fine, you can see the loyalty pressure playing out, the influence of nearby cities that would apply to any loyalty of a new city. Now, as you probably already know, negative loyalty over time leads to a city that will revolt and turn to the enemy, or indeed just rebel against you. The important thing to note is that it's fairly easy to get between 5 and 12-ish additional loyalty pressure fairly quickly. To prove it as a test case, not because it's a wonderful place for a city, I'm going to plop one down here on a -11 loyalty tile. My first step, of course, will be to make sure that I've got a monument providing +1 loyalty per turn. The next thing I can turn to is my governor screen. Appointing any governor on the list will provide me with extra loyalty in the city. You can see that it takes them 5 turns to become established, and that they provide 8 loyalty to the city. Some, in certain instances and promotions and abilities, can even apply more. One notable example of this is Armani with her emissary. Other cities within 9 tiles and not owned by you lose 2 loyalty per turn. Perhaps you want to wear down your opponent's loyalty instead of lifting up your own. And of course, certain civs as well will have their own unique loyalty abilities and pressures. From Eleanor, Persia to the Ottomans, there's loads to choose from. So do make sure that you focus in on what your civ does in particular, and on what that of your opponent's one does to loyalty as well. Here you can see, just by placing a governor, this place is going from -13 to -5. Once the monument's built, that's -4, and we're nearly already on top of this problem with just a couple of small adjustments. Don't forget as well, you can also turn to your policy cards for additional loyalty. This one here, which provides +2 loyalty per turn for cities with a garrisoned or stationed unit, is another really easy one to throw in, garrison a unit, and grab the extra stability. It is always, always, always important in Civilization 6, whether you're new to the game or consider yourself to be much more of an expert than everyone else in the comments section below, to refresh yourself on what your civ actually does. In this case, of course, in case you didn't know, I'm playing as the Inca, and I get to build these really cool terrace farms, meaning that I, in the early game, can get away with maybe chopping down some more woods and replacing them with farms, because actually, my terrace farms built on these hills are dang good. It's not just the improvement itself, but all of the implications that that has on how you normally play the game that you also need to be playing through. As I say, in this game I might be more likely to chop tiles like this because my farms are just incredible, or at least good enough to warrant seizing some more woodland in order to seize the means of production early on. Here we can see exactly kind of what I'm talking about playing out in practice. So in this city, it's 2 turns away from producing a settler. That's, as we can see, 19 industry. Quick maths. Now, with some extra forests, let's pretend like these ones are extra for the sake of this video, I'm going to use my poor workers here to remove them, removing 1 industry, of course, 1 production from the tile, but sending 14 into the city, and just like that, boom, another settler has been pumped out, and it's ready to be sent off to claim even more land. Do, of course, make sure that you send them with a friend. Watch out for roaming barbarians getting in your way. Following on here, it really must be reinforced just how important it is to get these settlers out quickly, okay? Really quickly. You want to quickly run out and land grab, not just because, of course, you're fighting against opponents, but because of lots of other small factors. For example, you may want more era score to surge you towards those better end of era bonuses that occur. Don't forget you can monitor those down in the bottom right. Other reasons why you might quickly want to jump out and expand are, of course, to capture vital land and strategic resources, but more importantly, and this goes back to one of the broader points and one of the broader focuses of this video, as you go out and grab land and settle these settlers, as soon as the cities are providing even just one district, they are providing more value than not having the city, okay? It is almost always better to jump out and grab as much as you can in Civilization 6. Usually a good build order for a new city might be to bring it up to the basic level of infrastructure that's required. Perhaps that's a monument. You'll want a builder as well if you're not already getting free builders in your new cities. And then, if trade is all good, go into another settler and send another one out. Use the builder to chop a forest like this if you need to, and you can catapult out another settler and send it a step further still. As your empire begins to really stretch far and wide and you start to take some more of the map, you'll really notice where you've gone wrong and opportunities where you can expand even more. Often they're the same. Take a look here, for example. 2 things I want to highlight. Firstly, these cities here are pretty good, pretty close to each other. They're getting shared benefits from some tiles, districts, and amenities. Take, for example, the amenities district itself, right, which produces bonuses for cities within a certain number of tiles. It therefore makes sense to have things clustered close together. Also, of course, if I want to swap tiles from one city to another, I can do that. The other important thing to notice here is when we zoom out, it's clear that this could be done better still. Here, clearly, is a spot where another city could be fit on this map very easily, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. Easy. Out here on the coastline, grab a whole load of resources. You could likely, if you wanted to, and were game, also squeeze one in here as well. Again, if the point is just about maximizing the number of cities, where each city doesn't actually penalize us that much, especially if we compare it to other Civilization games like Civ 5, there really is no point in stopping yourself from just go and expand everywhere, because even a relatively small city with a campus, providing it's not eating away at anything the Empire needs, any crucial resources, will provide more benefits than anything it takes away from you. Now let's bring it out and talk about this at the wider picture. You'll notice the map has changed. This is from a different recording that I made earlier today when I was planning out this video. And something I noticed was the same throughout every game, and indeed, you've probably noticed and planned around this too, if you're a more experienced Civ player, and that is the fact that Sid loves triangles. Sid Meier's loves triangles, and even though the tiles in this game are hexes, it's triangulation that is key. What on earth do I mean? Have a look firstly at these cities, because I think it sort of sets the tone for this message. You'll notice that they are also roughly in a triangle. They're triangulated. 3 or 4 tiles, again, between each one, and I could even put one up just sort of north of the cursor there where my warrior is, and have a nice sort of little circle square thing forming. The point here is that this kind of layout, by producing a grid, triangulating them, heck, you can even put them into hexagons if you like. Hexagons are, after all, bestagons. You'll be able to share commonality between them. Amenities districts placed in the middle now provide their bonuses to 4 cities instead of 2 built out on a peninsula, right? Do not forget that this also matters inside of your city as well. I've talked district planning many times on the channel before. I won't bore you with that again today, although it is always important to scrub up on your district planning basics. But the key here is that that same triangulation or shared benefits, that finding a common node and placing cities around it will always be beneficial on the sort of more micro level as well within a city. 3 farms next to each other in a triangle will provide adjacency bonuses, for example. So it's always important whether you're planning at this level, on a tile by tile in a city, or at a broader empire level, that you try and find common ground, that shared area of commonality where you'll get loads more bonuses from likewise stacking like for like districts, and improvements in that same triangulated shape tends to be a good idea. I've had some feedback on some of my videos that you'd like me to, at the end, summarize everything that we learned in a succinct place so that you can go away feeling happy that everything is summarized in 60 seconds or less. So let's try that in this video, and if people watch it and like it, let me know, and I might do it in future. Today we talked about seizing the means of production, settling cities first, and prioritizing industry in them before all else, whether that's individual tiles or right the way out to district planning. We also talked about influence, dare I call it accidentally stability, and trying to keep our cities under our own control and not fall mercy to others. Remember, you can station governors, use policy cards, and station units to ensure that your loyalty is held high so that you can keep expanding out far and wide. On the individual city level, we talked about triangulation of districts and improvement, and more broadly, the takeaway from this video, other than seizing the means of production, is to get out there and settle fast. And I hope that you've heard and found many strategies and tips in this video to allow you to do that, whether it's producing settlers more quickly or holding cities and keeping them loyal. Thank you very much for watching. Go out, prioritize industry, and spam out settlers faster than you've ever done before, and I'll see you next time.